Hello, everyone. Wanted to come and share the wonderful news about our student book for our Let's Talk English series being officially done and ready to launch. So I'm here just to tell you a little bit about our student book and what it is and why we developed it and what are the benefits for it. So we developed this book because we kept hearing there was a need for the students to have a tangible book in front of them. So we all know and love our SmartClass Hub, and that all the activities are there in the platform for the students to interact with, to submit. For over 50% of our activities in our Let's Talk series are auto-graded. So it's a wonderful benefit for teachers and students alike to have that auto-grading capability. But there are many teachers and students who have said that they would love to have a book in front of them. And so we have delivered that. So what's in it is everything that a teacher would potentially print out, anything that may be a little bit smaller to read in the platform, something where students may want to take notes on, lists, so like our vocab lists, our grammar charts, anything of that matter, you're going to find in this book. So I can break down each individual section for you and what's in it, and I'll do that in a second by showing you my screen. But that is what is in it, so that a student has that tangible book in front of them and can take notes and have something to study from, was the concept of this book. So it's more of a student resource guide. It is not a student workbook, because the students still do have to do the activities and submit the activities in our platform. Each individual activity is not in the book. So the benefits, let's talk about some of the benefits for students first. So in the hub, if there is a reading and students are not sure about a word, when they have the reading in front of them, they're going to be able to go and mark it up a little bit, put some translations in there, take notes on their grammar charts if the teacher is giving a lesson on and teaching that grammar concept, or if they're watching our Let's Talk Grammar video in our hub, they'll be able to go and write on their grammar chart then and take some additional notes. So then that way the student can refer back to that when they are practicing. So they just have a tangible object in front of them where they can go back and reference it, and be able to write in the book itself. For the benefits for the teacher are that you no longer have to go and find our extra resources. You will no longer have to go and print anything out individually for students, so that anything that the student would need is now in this book. So the teacher does not have to worry about finding it and printing it and providing it for the student. So they'll have what they need in the hub, and then any additional resources or anything that the student might want extra of, it will be in that student book for the student. So saves time, saves paper, saves printing and having the lesson plan, so to speak, where they have that, have to go and print all that extra documents off for the students. All of that is alleviated with this student book. So what's in it? If I can quickly share my screen so that I can show you exactly what is in our book for the students, so that you can get a glimpse of it. I started right away at the table of contents. So the table of contents shows you that we'll first have the introduction. So there's a step-by-step guide for the students, scope and sequence of what they learn in each chapter, or what's provided in each chapter. So we broke it into category. So everything for vocabulary will be in the first section. So if they are working with chapter 2, and they want to look at the vocabulary list, they would just come to this vocabulary section and go from there. So it goes vocabulary, grammar, conversation, reading, review, assessment, and the game sheets. So it follows that flow of the normal chapter. So each section has the chapters and then also has the sections within them. So I'll start with the vocabulary just so that you can see this. At the beginning of each section, there is an index so that the student can go to the beginning of that section and say, all right, what is it that I'm looking for? So if they're working with chapter 2 and they want the vocabulary list, they can know that they just go to page 11. What we've added in here that is not in the hub and I think is worth talking about. So here you see the vocabulary list, but what's in here that is not in the hub are these vocabulary translation sheets. So we felt that it was important for students to have a place where they could go and look at the vocabulary in English and then interact with it and translate it in their own language so they could, understand it in a different way. So in our hub, we do a lot of activities where they have to interact with the words in English, and then we give imagery for them to understand the word. But this extra step of that translation really, solidifies that understanding. And then we also give them an example. So we do this for every vocabulary chapter, every section of the vocabulary list. Anything that's in the hub that they might want to write on or zoom in on, we've put in here to make sure that it's very legible and is a resource for the students. Okay, so you can see it just kind of repeats itself. And that's that. So let me go to the grammar really quickly so you can see what that looks like. So grammar, if they're working with a grammar concept, and let's say they're in chapter 4 and they wanted to look at the chart for ordinal numbers, they'd go to page 58, scroll through, and they could have this right in front of them if you're giving a lesson on it, or if they're watching our interactive grammar video in the hub, they could open up this page and take any additional notes that they wanted. And then they'd have those in the book so that they could reference back to them. And then if we go into the next section, this is a great one. This is one that you would have had to print off for every student and made sure that each partner has the correct, partner 1 or partner 2 conversation worksheet. So now they just go and say, okay, what is the conversation that we're working on? So I'm going to pretend I'm in chapter 3 and I'm working on Owen's family tree and I'm partner 1. So I'm going to go to 85. So then they would go to that page. And now instead of you having to print it off, they'll look at this, they see their instructions, and they can write their information on here so that when we have this in the hub, but now they can actually write their answers right here, and it will make them do any follow-up activities that much easier. Okay, so that's our conversation. Every conversation worksheet is in there for them to interact with. After that, we go into the reading. So I really like that the readings are in here again, so that if the student is not understanding something that they're reading, they can look up words, they can write on this and really help the reading comprehension. Okay, and they're all laid out very nicely, very easily. After that, we have our review and assessment, because in the review and assessment, we all know that we have the self-evaluations, so they can interact with them and they can write on these and really say how they felt that they were doing and go back and look at the resources if they didn't feel that they were doing well for that chapter or for that particular I can statement. Has their projects in here, and then it just repeats. And then the last section that is in here are those game sheets, which again is something the teachers would have to print off. So if you would like to add games into your classroom environment, then we have them here, and the students just have to go and find the correct game that they're going to interact with, and then you can play the game to help them with their language learning. So I hope that brings light to what it is that the student book is, what the benefits will be for your students and for you as a teacher, or for you as an administrator looking to help your teachers. But we're really excited about how it turned out. It's a beautiful compilation of all of the important resources for students, added a couple extra things in there with the translation worksheets, and really came together nicely. So hope that you see the wonderful benefits and that this is something that you'll bring into your classrooms. Thank you so much. Take care.